All right, guys. It is May 17th, and welcome to your first Core 4 lesson. First week of our 16-week course, mindset, business, accountability, profit, and strategy. Today, guys, we're going to be all about mindset. We're going to talk about mindset in business, and we're going to hand it over to the world experts of the mindset, and that is Brian Grasso. It's not Brian Grasso, it's Carrie Campbell. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to mute myself, and I'm going to take the world leaders and hand it off.
Wow, this is awesome. Well, this is such a great call. We've been jazzed about this call for the last couple of days, really ready to dive in. And, I don't know if you want to add anything before we do jump in. We put together some slides. You guys know us and know that slides really aren't necessarily our thing. We create them to offer a foundation to use as a backdrop. But there's not much information on there because we're really going to talk you through the stuff that we wanted to share with you. So, Camelia, do you have to give us screen share? We should have it. There we go. Okay, so let's start the screen share. Pardon us for this. Okay. We were talking about this insofar as where we wanted to start because really and truly, mindset and business, there's 1,000 different things we could talk about, and with each and every one of you, we've probably already addressed certain elements of how mindset is influential in business. But we decided to start with mindset in business as relates to relationships, and we're calling it the relationship triad. If you know anything about us, relationships really are the core of everything that we create in business. But it's more than just our relationships with our clients that we're going to look at. So we're going to dive right in. And sorry, guys. We're having some technical difficulties.
Not really.
I am. Sorry about that. Okay, I don't need to go much more into this other than to say that mindset's your foundation for everything. Everybody who's on this call knows that. And so when we're trying to create anything in business, if we're not looking individually at where our mindset sits, we're not looking at the foundation for what we're building our business off of. It is your foundation. And so everything, whether you're trying to increase revenues, whether you're trying to gain clients, whether you're trying to create organizational structure within your business, it all is going to come off of the foundation of your own mindset individually. Now, I don't know if you want to add to that.
I do, because Carrie started this slide by saying she doesn't have to go far into it because everyone here is an MBI grad, which of course I agree with. But practicality is a lot different than concept. Okay, so on this call right now, here are some things I know to be true. We have some people who have told us that this is what they want to achieve in business. And they've gone as far as detailing it out very specifically, which is beautiful. But then, when asked how they conduct their daily schedule, it was like night and day. This is what I want to achieve, but this is what I do every single day. Okay, there's a big mindset deficit there that we have to overcome or build a bridge. So that's one example of practicality regarding mindset in business. Here's another one, okay? I'm afraid. There's someone on this call who is a world changer, has every possible ability and capacity to touch lives in a way that I've not seen very easily or very often before in someone. And yet they are chronically worried about how they're going to do it. Okay? There's a mindset deficit there. If business success was only ever about X's and O's, so this is how we structure a schedule to get to this goal, or this is how we harness your capability to really become a world changer. If it was only about X's and O's, then everybody would do it. And everybody would do it successfully. but very few entrepreneurs are truly successful. And mindset is the reason why. So you've all graduated from MPI in this call, but thus far we've been concept oriented. This is about making it practical and understanding how it relates to your business, your life, and even your partnerships and relationships. Forrest and Anthony are business partners. Emma and Sandy don't have business partners, but they have clients. Well, those client relationships are every bit as important as a business relationship. So when we're setting the stage by saying mindset and relationships, it's an all-encompassing bracket to understand that mindset is the limiting factor, but it's also the linchpin. It's what's going to make things not work, or it's going to make things work. Okay, Gary and Camelia are the best in the world at the X's and O's. And it's like they can tell you critically exactly what to do, but your capacity to do it is the practical bridge. And that bridge is your mindset. Thus, us.
Absolutely. And I just want to add to the practicality of it all, because it really is so important, right? To take what we learn, and it's one thing to be able to learn something, take a test, or even to teach it to other people. It's a completely different thing to internalize it yourself and integrate it on an ongoing basis. And that's the key right there. It has to be an ongoing basis. You know, in all the business coaching that Brian and I have done with people, you know, over the last couple of years, whenever we find people, you know, kind of hitting skids in one area or another, we always come back to our very basic question. Where are your mindset practices sitting right now? Your daily mindset practices. And every single one of them is like, well, I haven't been as consistent as I should be, or, we're aware of bound nature when it spikes and it's up here, but are we aware of our bound nature at the very quiet state where it's driving our actions that we don't even know it's driving? That's the part of taking the concept and bringing it into the practicality where you've got to do the work. You have to do the work every day to create sustainable mindset practices ongoing. So we'll get more into that, of course, but today, as I already said, we're gonna dive into relationships. Now, the reality is there's not only one relationship we're looking at when we talk about mindset. And Forrest and Anthony, again, I'm going to reference you guys quickly because you're in a business partnership together. It's really easy to work on your business and work with your clients and, do all the financial aspects in the organization. But how much time do you actually spend as a partnership building that? And the answer, usually most often, is people don't even recognize that they should have been building it in the first place. So when we're looking at the relationship triad in business as pertains to mindset, we're looking at 3 different levels. So your mindset relationship with yourself, your clients, how mindset interferes and or can drive forward in a good way your relationships with your clients, and your partners or your staff. Now, the one thing that I've noticed over the years is that people tend to put emphasis on one area of this triad more than another, and usually the staff partnership is the one that falls flat. A lot of focus goes into the client, not nearly enough focus goes into myself and what am I doing to make sure that I'm establishing a solid foundation, or with the people who are in the immediate layer of the business that I'm creating. They're all equally important, but notice, of course, that the you is the one that's at the top because everything drives from you, every single thing in your business. You want to add?
No, you did that perfectly.
I did that perfectly. So let's start with you. Now, obviously, you've gone through MPI. Obviously, you have an understanding of bound nature and free nature. You have to never forget that you are the core of your business, always and forever, and that your stories, good or bad, are going to drive everything that you're doing in your business. Everything from where you're generating profits from, how you're marketing. Are you marketing because this is what feels good to you, or are you marketing because this is what so-and-so is doing over there, only to find out 3 weeks from now, so-and-so is doing this and that seems to be work, and now you're over here because you're being pulled and you're being influenced into every different element of what's potential for marketing. You have to know what's going on with your stuff. That's where your bound nature awareness, you get now to fine tune it. Now we have to fine tune it to the point where you are not simply aware in moments, but you're taking stock in a given day, what's going on with your own language in your head, and what is driving forward decisions that you're making in your business.
Yeah, the whole purpose, right? This is now, look, you've all been with us for some time. You've all gone through MPI 1 and 2. I mean, you've done MPI. I think what you're seeing now is that mindset is an iceberg, literally. And we've happily introduced to the top layer the stuff that's visible above the waterline, but there's so much to it. So this is new information what we're sharing with you today. And let me take that one step farther. As a business owner, every business owner is faced with decisions every single day. Staff decisions, price points, marketing decisions, reactions to customers, decisions nonstop. What most entrepreneurs don't have is a core-based mindset that is the literal breathing philosophy of who they are and what they're bringing to the world. The reason I say that is that that's a practice. Everyone gets excited about running avatars or creating a USP or, that kind of marketing stuff is good, it's important, but it doesn't become fundamentally ingrained. And I see it with you guys. We want to do this and this and this and this and this. We want to work with these people and these people and these people. And it's a lot, right? There's no core fundamental. And when we establish one, what we do is we go from decision to reflex every single day. Now that is 10xing your business. When we are not considering decisions anymore and laboring and overthinking them, which leads to procrastination and self-doubt, which everybody in this call has experienced, when we have a core philosophy that is ingrained and practiced and rehearsed into our mindset, we no longer are making decisions. We are reflexively just acting. That is the biggest 10x secret I could possibly give you from a business standpoint. Build a core into your business mindset. Now you transition from decision to reflex. That is the difference between thousands upon hundreds of thousands of dollars of potential revenue.
Absolutely.
I like that Forrest is shaking his head.
And he's taking a lot of
He's
notes.
giving me affirmation and validation that we're the shit. Look at that.
We're going to elaborate on the Mindset Six-Pack next week.
Yes, we are.
So we're going to go into much greater detail next week on how to build out your own mindset practices every day to make sure that they're like, you know what, I love that, Forrest, you just held up Brian's book. So they're in there, right? And if you've gone through one of our private mentorships, you've done the Mindset Six-Pack. But what we know to be true about the Mindset Six is they have to be repeated. They have to be, formed and maneuvered to make sure that they become the reflex that Brian's talking about.
They have to be evolved.
Absolutely. So we're going to spend time on that, making sure that that's, a very solid foundation for all of you. But I just want to peel this back for 1 second. When you think about relationship with yourself, okay, and the whole just notion of yourself, right? Of course, we're talking about mindset, but I want to also look at the world around you, because this is something that I think so many people take for granted. We put business over here, and then we put the rest of our life over here. And for some reason, it's like we forget that they're connected. They are not separate of one another. And let me tell you, I just got off a call today with someone who is, has gained another 10 pounds this year and is morbidly unhappy with herself and is not doing so great in business right now. And if she thinks that that is not somehow connected to her output in business, she's kidding herself. Now, thankfully, she doesn't think that. She knows the impact. But your world around you, your relationships with your kids, your relationships with your spouse, your relationship with yourself, how you feel about yourself on a given day, how you take care of yourself, your organization, your time management, in your life at large, all of that matters way more than most people ever give it credit for.
Yes.
And, you know, so entrepreneurs often fall into the mindset of go, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. That's the, you know, the Gary Vaynerchuk right now, the big thing is hustle. And get so influenced by that, that before you know it, you're spending 75% of your day in business, executing, because your stories have it such that that's what you should be doing, and that other element of your life is down here. And then eventually it creates this incredible pull of disconnect. And we wonder why our profits, our success with clients, and things are faltering. When you make it a cohesive unit, that's when the real magic happens. Because everything in your life is going to be functioning as optimally as it possibly can, which is going to then output in your business even greater. Do you want to add?
Nope, that was great.
So there's like two more.
Perfect.
So it starts with you. I encourage you after this call, knowing that this is not a one-shot deal, right? But after this call today, I want you to spend some time at some point tonight or tomorrow in each one of these sections of relationships, you, your clients, and your partners. And I just kind of want you to take stock on really and truly where are they sitting? Where do you think, because you guys are already coming into this with a level of awareness that, you know, it's far exceeding people who would be coming in blind to it all. Be really honest with yourself where there's some friction that's happening, okay? The next one, your clients. I think that there's a lot of talk about relationships with clients. And again, it's one of those things that is very easily spoken in the rhetoric of, oh, you have to build client relationships. But what does that mean?
Right.
And when we're coming into this from a mindset perspective, it really does start to shift the way you choose to work with your clients. And not unlike many things, this is an inside you journey first. Because I think that when we're trying to build businesses and be profitable, all too often the client gets forgotten. We look at clients as having dollar signs on their heads, rather than being people who are coming to us because they need help. And that's the first point. Remember why they came to you. Your clients have pain. Your clients feel broken. Your clients want you to rid them of something that hurts them. Whether it's a mindset deficit that they don't know yet, whether it's they have 25 pounds they want to lose, whether they have their child has cancer. There's a variety of reasons they're coming to you, but you have to keep it at your top of your mind and not see them simply as a conversion point. Just jump in if you want to or anything. And then the next point is forget the hierarchy. You know, one of the things that you guys noticed probably at MPI is we called it a facilitation model, not a coaching model. We did that on purpose. You know, if you understand bound nature, you know that superiority is just as much a bound nature role as inferiority. And that if we're walking around with a superiority complex, we can be driving out of a very bound nature place. A lot of people don't recognize that when they're working in a helping industry, that they actually have a superiority complex over their clients, and very easily can fall into blaming their clients for why they're not, why aren't they doing this, and kind of shitting on their clients. Now, let's face it, everybody walks into the industry of helping people because they truly have something they want to give them. But it's really easy to lose yourself if you're not checking your own mindset on this one. You grow cynical of your clients, and that translates to how you treat them. So that's where this isn't a you have to sit down and do a checklist every day after you're working with your clients. It's top of the mind awareness. It's making sure that when you are with your clients that you're serving them at the level that they need to be served at. And I always find that one way to kind of make sure that you're always doing that is to treat their journey as if it's your own, or as if it's your best friend's, because sometimes we don't treat our own journey very well either. The person you love the most, show them that care and that consideration. And then the final point, which I think is really the crux when we're talking about relationships and business with our clients, make sure your ego isn't driving your actions. So bound nature, as we know, is a driver of action or reaction. You have a client who comes to you and says, you know, they're not happy with their service and they're leaving you. You immediately get defensive and reactive. And I know people who've gone both ways, where they dismiss their client as being useless. And then I have other ones who've actually like lashed out at people and retaliated in like, well, you didn't do what you were supposed to do. Well, now we're in a bound nature pissing match is really what we're in. You have a level of mindset awareness that they don't have. So that automatically makes it your responsibility to be able to hold yourself to that standard. Now, because we're talking about business, let's look at this from your bottom line, right? You're trying to generate a successful business. If you are interacting with your clients from an ego state, that is the most quickest way to see your profits and your success go down. Because word of mouth, as we know it, is still one of the most powerful marketing tools. That's going to create a disconnect. So you have to be coming from a free nature standpoint when we're dealing with clients. Anything?
No.
Nope.
I close the show and screen.
You're funny. Okay, this is the last one, which I think is the one that gets negated the most often. Now, it's funny that I'm looking at Gary and Camelia right now on the screen because they're going to totally probably remember this conversation that we had with them not too long ago. Whenever Brian and I start business with anybody, it doesn't matter whether it's partnership or sharing of contracts, whatever the case may be. The very first conversation we have is that we have to keep communication open, and as long as we keep talking, everything's going to always be okay. I believe that is one of the most powerful things you can bring to a partnership or with your staff and your colleagues, because if we stop communication, it's when things start to break down. I want you to look. I'm gonna reference this as a business partnership for a second, just because I know Forrest and Anthony are on this call. I want you to look at each other as your spouse. Okay, you should know your business partner as well as you know your spouse. Now, not everybody knows your spouse well, so let's just go on the pretense that you know your spouse really well. I know every single one of Brian's ins and outs as pertains to his bound nature. He knows mine. That seems like maybe like a lot of work to get to know, but if we're in business together, obviously, as well as a relationship, you're kidding yourself if you don't think that in the past our business was driven by both of our bound natures. So Brian used to be an overthinker, so he would overthink something, and then we'd get into a conversation about which way we should go. I was a people pleaser, so I would just relent and we'd shift directions, and before we know it, we're like, no, that's not where we really want to be. I need to know his bound nature. He needs to know mine and or the stories so that we can learn to understand them. Because more than you know it, those stories will end up feeding one another, and you will end up creating this business story amongst the two of you. So, for those of you who have staff or your colleagues, get to know them from that level. Now, Forrest and Anthony, this is really great for you guys because you're both coming in from a mindset standpoint. But have you ever talked to each other about what your stories are? Do you know what your bound nature looks like? In the middle of perhaps a disagreement, because I'm sure you have them, because every relationship does, is one of you able to say, this is really stupid right now. We're both in bound nature. Let's totally take a break, reshift, and come back. Because if you're not careful, you'll end up with your business being driven from both of your stories, and you won't gain traction forward. So just to close up, at the core of every human is the basic need to feel loved and secure. Understand mindset in relationships as pertains to business will allow you to foster this, right? So if the people around you, as well as yourself, have that feeling of love, security, and feeling happy, which all comes from the foundation of mindset, what grows? Everything grows. Because you know what people want? People want to feel good. Whether it's you or your clients, or it's your business partners or your colleagues. In order to feel good, you have to understand what our mindset is. If you do that, that's from where everything grows. Your turn.
There you go. Excellent. Well, before it's my turn, does anyone have questions or comments for the Kirsten?
Just put your hand up if you do. I think, is Forrest talking?
I don't know.
Forrest, did you have a question?
Is this question time?
If you have a question or comment, hit it.
No, I would say just a lot of great information. Definitely Anthony and I's relationship is in very good communication. I feel that we treat each other like brothers. I'm closer to him than my blood brothers, and I treat my blood brothers like like I just love them so much to death. And that's how I treat Anthony and his whole family, and he treats mine the same way. We reciprocate that. We have a lot of communication throughout the week. It can always improve, and it can always increase. And he can definitely learn more about my bound nature states for sure, and I can learn more about his. With our staff, we do need to improve the communication most definitely with our entire staff on a more consistent basis. And that, like you said, once the communication stops, there can be a breakdown, and that's happened. But I have to say that, with my partnership with Anthony for the last about 3 years, we've never had any major breakdowns, and, everything, we have communicated very tightly, and I'm really, really happy with how it's going. So, but everything could be improved, including my relationship with my kids, my relationship with my wife, how I communicate. I definitely have work to do. And then, I love the triad. You're absolutely right. I tend to focus clients. And sometimes there could be like, here's my focus on new clients. Okay, well, what about all these people that I'm still servicing? And I think that the people that talk to me when I go into the boot camp and when I interface with people, they know that when they talk to me, they're the only ones that exist at that moment in time. And so I really give myself fully, and I don't let as much as I have under my control, because I don't have 100% awareness. Nobody does. But as much as I can control it, I serve to people from a point of view where it's like, I'm a servant leader. I don't put myself on a pedestal. I never have. I never wanted to be on a pedestal. So I really serve from a point of compassion, and I truly feel that way. And that's why I vibe with you guys so well. Yeah.
Add a few things to Forrest. I love you guys so much. Both of you have mad love for you, and I have no doubt in my mind, after spending any amount of time with you guys, that everybody is so cared for in your world and loved. There's no question about that. So what you need to know about me is I never speak in conclusive terms.
Yes.
So I don't know anything I'm going to say right now is going to be accurate to either one of you or anybody on this call. But for me, this is about opening up and expanding past the basics of what we know, okay? I know both of your stories personally in business based on what you shared with us already. And the potential of those two stories playing off of one another and maybe not having any breakdowns, but clouding the vision as you move forward, that is definitely a potential there.
Yes.
So I'm not saying, keep doing what you're doing. Explore vulnerably, the two of you in conversation, what your stories are, and see if you can track back to how it plays off of one another, so you can catch it as you keep going.
Yes.
Okay. Let me bring Sandy and Emma into this conversation as well by saying this. So I love what you said, Forrest. And I'm gonna point a little bit of bullshit at you. The fact you guys haven't had it blow up actually disturbs me. Because I believe your love is authentic for each other. Your respect for each other is whole. I believe you're both servant leaders. I also believe that you both get in each other's way. And you don't know it or don't do anything about it. And I think that that's a problem. That's me at my most candid honest. But how does Anthony's daily decisions, the work he does do and the work he avoids because he overthinks it, how does it fuck with your vision? And Anthony, the work that Forrest does every day, and sometimes the work he doesn't, because he overthinks it, so he procrastinates, how does it fuck with your vision? That's the kind of conversation Carrie's asked you to have. Now, that does not eliminate Emma and Sandy from this conversation, because what I just said to Forrest and Anthony applies to your customers. You have customers that influence you. You have customers that make you think this is the way it should be. You have relational models with every prospect and every client that's ever going to come in your sight lines. And we need to know how our own bound natures affect our decision and how much the influence or work or lack of work of others, also their bound nature, how it affects us. This is mindset 2.0 now. Right? So we're not talking about the awesome language of it all. Open communication for us. Love it. Believe it, by the way. I believe everything you said. But now we're talking about the dirty. We're talking about the stuff that no one really wants to talk about because it doesn't feel quite as good. But Emma, you have clients that screw over your path. And Sandy, you either do or will have clients that mess up yours. And love it or hate it, for us, sometimes Anthony does shit or doesn't do shit that gets in the way of your vision, and vice versa. Those are the bound nature protocols we're looking at now. And they're a little deeper, a little more dirty, but a lot more powerful. The 1% difference. That is the 1%. This is mindset for business. This is about maximizing the impact we can have on the world and then getting paid for it. So we're going to talk about some dirty stuff. And that's my one. Now here's where I want to close today with my own last commentary. Okay? Now, this is a new program, CORE4. I love it. I'm already in love with it.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest. I don't know in 4 weeks or 5 weeks or 6 weeks what Gary and Camelia are going to teach you about marketing systems and strategies. I don't know, because it's a new program. So I might step on a toe with this one. I apologize if I do. But this is me at my mindset core, okay? One of the reasons, Emma, you're a friend and a former client of mine. Forrest and Anthony, same. Sandy, same. One of the easiest reasons I had no problem saying to all of you, listen to what Gary and Camelia say, is that they're the best I know at what they do, and I trust them explicitly, completely, okay? But so outside of those guys, this is where I see a lot of business and marketing coaches fuck up. The conversation is, well, what's your passion? What's your passion? What's your passion? What do you love to do? Well, we should do that. Okay? I call bullshit on all of it. It needs to be deeper than that. So mindset 101. What does your business look like? It stems from this one question that is the only homework I want you to do this week for me. Who do you want to be a hero to? If you know that, those two people can help you build a 7-figure business. If you don't know that, you will live in wishy-washy land for the rest of your life. I don't care what the market says. I don't care what the demographics say. I don't care what the psychographic says. I don't care what your passions are. I don't care how you see it all working. I don't care what you think are the obstacles. I don't care what you want to do. I care about who you want to be a hero to. That is purpose. That is a mindset of concrete that you can build a foundation on. Emma, maybe or maybe not, you want to be a hero to families who are living through the tragedy of cancer, right? Now, if you tell me that's who you want to be a hero to, I guarantee you, Gary and Camellia can teach you to make a profitable business doing that. Because most people will say, well, how do I make money from people who are going through cancer? I don't know. I don't care. Because that's not my specialty. But my specialty is mindset. And I'm telling you right now, if that's who you want to be a hero to, there's ways to make money. Who do you want to be a hero to? So let me help you with this. You can't be a hero to everybody. You can't just say everybody, because it doesn't work that way. You need to know who you're talking to, and they need to know who you're talking to. Carrie and I own a couple of businesses, okay? Now, let me scribble it to you this way. We call it the 6-word intro, but it doesn't really matter what you call it. It's irrelevant. We know who we want to be a hero to. We've always wanted to be a hero. Emma, Sandy, you went through my program. You guys are perfect examples. We've always wanted to be a hero to the people who make goal after goal and New Year's resolution after New Year's resolution, only to find themselves failing every single time they do it. We want to be a hero to those people. So if I had an intro, I'd say, Forrest, nice to meet you. My name is Brian. We help people achieve the goals they set. That's who we want to be a hero to. Everybody sets goals, and 92% of the people who set them fail. So we want to be heroes to the people who are tired of not succeeding at the goals they set. The ones who go to Tony Robbins and Brian Tracy and Brendan Bouchard all the time, and nothing ever fucking changes for them. Because they get amped up about pumping their fist and reading the book and doing the exercise, but they just don't ever seem to succeed. That's who we want to be heroes to. Our other business, we love working with big impact entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs who have changing the world in their sight lines. We love those people because they're unafraid. They believe in their ability and their capacity, right? Now understand this. We want to be their hero because most of those people don't take great care of themselves or their personal relationships, which to us is the foundation of life. So to those people, Anthony, nice to meet you. My name is Brian. This is my wife, Carrie. We teach big impact entrepreneurs how to have a bigger impact. We don't explain it's all a matter of self-improvement and self-development. We don't say it's not about marketing or business tactics, but we do tell you we're your hero if you want to have a bigger impact in the world. And then if you bite and say, I want to learn more, we tell you how we're going to do that. Who do you want to be a hero to? That is Mindset 101 for business. If you can't answer that question, you don't have a business. You have a hobby. The second you can answer that question, and then you listen to what Gary and Camellia tell you, you're an immediate success. Answer that question, and then get out of your own way and listen to these two people. It's going to work.
You know, I just want to add to that because I love that Brian said at the beginning, like, you can't be a hero to everybody. And like,
we've tried.
Nod your heads. How many of you want to help everybody? You know, everybody. And that was one of my greatest challenges, to be honest with you, was to find the who did I want to be a hero to, because since I was 3 years old, I want to help the world, right? But you know, this is so basic in business and marketing that the more you are specific, the more people you can reach, because you can't talk to everybody.
That's right.
So who are you talking to? And you know, in this vast ocean of all the billions of people that I want to help at my core, how did I know, like, this was how I found it when Brian and I were going through this process ourselves, is like, I knew that this was it because I actually had a visceral reaction to it. But not everybody's going to have a visceral reaction. You might not. It might make sense in your head. You're like, yes, this has been in the back of my head for months, for years, right? You just take time with it.
This is why I'm excited about CORE4, okay? This is exactly why. So let's play this out properly, okay? Most business success programs, this is how you do Facebook ads. And this is how you have an Amazon #1 best-selling book. And, let's talk about ideas and how you get in front of groups so you can talk. These are all fine things, right? But where's the sustainability of building a business, okay? So, like, let me play this out with the most impossible example possible, which is Emma. Fitness, and I'm going to just disclose to everybody your story. Is that cool by you? Yeah, she's awesome. I'm going to cut you. Fitness pro, an amazing fitness pro, own fitness facility, but an amazingly innate capacity to counsel people who are going through distress and tragedy. Okay? So much so, check this out, a hospital in Oklahoma flew her from Wales to Nebraska, or to Oklahoma, and basically on the spot said, you're the ambassador for this Kids with Cancer program. Oh, by the way, here's little Johnny and his parents. He's been diagnosed with terminal cancer. His parents are a mess. You take care of them for the week. But she did an amazing job. Like, I would have curled in the fetal position and peed myself. She did an amazing job, right? That hospital, that program then offered her a job. And now pay a small stipend, not nearly big enough, to her to maybe fly back and forth from Wales to Oklahoma for this program. But I know Emma well, and fitness participants are a pain in her ass. And she's not enthusiastic anymore about that, but helping these kids and these parents and these families is her soul. So the question is, how do I make money doing that? Well, that's not the question, though. The question is, who do you want to be a hero to? If you want to be a hero to those families, then how do you make money? Shit, I don't know. You start to talk to hospitals in Australia, in Belgium, in Russia, in Canada, in different parts of the States, in South Africa, all who do the same thing. And you leverage the doctors in Oklahoma to tell you tell them to call the hospital in Australia and tell them how awesome you are. So the hospital in Australia just hired you also. And holy shit, now the hospital in Brazil is up your ass because they want to hire you. Next thing you know, it's 6 months later, and you've got 12 hospitals you consult for, and you're making six figures, flying all over the world, because Emma, that's what you want to do. You want to help these families and be transitory. And while you're on these flights, you write a book. All about families dealing with cancer from your perspective. That book goes to Amazon #1. Now all of a sudden, you've got mentors and coaches all over the world who want to know what you know. So you build a certification. And you certify them in what you know is specialty. How do you do all that? I don't care. That's what Gary and Camellia know well. All I need to know is who you want to be a hero to. If you know the answer to that question, the rest of it builds. Trust the process, trust Gary and Camellia like we trust them, and believe in the capacity you have and they have. But none of it matters until you answer the question, who do you want to be a hero to? Answer that, you're 75% of the way there. Ask the question that no entrepreneur asks themselves, which is why 75% of businesses fail. I want to make money isn't good enough. I want to do epic shit isn't good enough. I want to help people isn't good enough. Who do you want to be a hero to? Any business model works after that. Questions, comments? All right. Camellia and Gary, CORE4, call #1. Do we rock it?
Ladies and gentlemen, things just got real. right? This is what Core4 is. This is some real stuff, right? Asking those hard questions. And I know that we all, the Core4, have asked these hard questions. And I know that you guys are going to ask these hard questions because that is the foundation. Mindset is the foundation to the success of our businesses. 100%. And you have us here right now, guys, on this call. And obviously this call is recorded and will be posted to Facebook. But please ask questions.
I'll just add that what Brian and Carrie talked about today will be fundamental in every single call that we go through for the next 16 weeks. We will continually come back to who do you want to be a hero to. We will continually come back to your mindset and your belief system and your foundation. It is key to all the sales, all the management, all the marketing, all the strategy, everything that we're going to go through over the next 16 weeks. So, Brian, I'm with you. I love Core4. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Boom. Where's the mic?
On Anthony, you have any questions?
I'm blown away, literally, and just really elated about the process, and just so thankful, for it to have a dream team. I was almost in tears hearing the story of Emma, through Brian. So that's why I'm kind of out of breath. But I'm just really excited to really be a part of this. I think, I know that the way that Carrie and Brian teach, it's just so clear. But it's become very clear to me because the way I look at my relationship with Forrest, and I really believe the reason why we're we're a tight communication all the time. But obviously things can always get better in that process. So I'm really wanting to explore that inside of that and explore the way of being a believer, a full believer of Carrie and Brian, and embracing what they have had to offer to the world, and that I've been able to jump on that because of Forrest. I never would have known Brian or Carrie. Well, probably I would have. They would have came across my Facebook feed, but I probably wouldn't even understood or even known how to go to that next level, because I do have to tell you that mentors for me have been, Tony Robbins, Les Brown, and I really do love them. But I think they've afforded this opportunity for me to fall into people like Carrie and Brian, and how Forrest has introduced them in that way to really create now the mindset that they maybe haven't been able to teach so well. It's always been such a motivating thing. Like, I've came from the curb, you know what I mean? And I can make anything happen. Well, how do you do that? It comes to the 6-pack. It comes to the morning ritual. Morning rituals are, the daily rituals and the night rituals, and studying those and letting them evolve. So I don't want to take too much time. I can talk even when I'm out of breath, but it's all in love. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Love it. Anybody else?
Emma hasn't quite embraced how unbelievably epic she is yet, but she will.
She will.
I'm just saying, big Kutch is coming. Big Kutch. Massive Kutch. Kutch, by the way, is Welsh for hug. Just so everybody knows. Yeah. Forrest, are you coming to our show in the UK still?
Yeah, I haven't bought my tickets yet, but if it's on, I'm on. I'm going to make this happen.
Emma's going to be there, and with
cool.
I hope I get to hug Sandy again.
They've actually both bought their tickets already.
That's tight. That's tight, man. Yeah, we want to be there.
Hero 2. Answer the question. That's your homework.
Thank you for that clarity. I really appreciate it, because that's what we need is clarity right now. Like, where do we put our focus? Where's the big vision? And then how do we build off of that? That's why we're here. And I have had other business coaches in the past that say, here's the X's and here's the O's. And I always felt like there's something missing here. We're just focused on the strategies. We got to go deeper, and this is what I've been looking for. So thank you guys.
The foundation. Anthony, Forrest, this is directed to you guys because you have an existing business. I'm just going to tell you, okay? Do not be influenced by what you're currently doing in business insofar as answering the question, okay? Don't try to make a square peg go into a round hole. This is what you guys do right now. That's fine. But answer the question absent anything else.
Okay.
So I don't care if your answer's got nothing to do with fitness or what you do now. That's irrelevant.
Yes.
Okay? Really irrelevant. Because every garden needs to purge before it blossoms. And if you guys maybe have to go through a little trim and a purge here and there, so be it. You'll be better off for it, and so will the people you serve.
Thank you.
I'm not saying that your answer is going to be outside the realm of fitness, but don't put blinders on and think you have to fit the answer to what you're doing now. If you were doing nothing else, who would you want to be a hero to? Start there.
Thank you. Yeah.
And if guys, oh, sorry, Carrie, go ahead.
I just said awesome.
And if I could add just one thing to the partnership with Forrest and Anthony, and also not the partnership, right, with Sandy and Emma, that question takes courage.
Yes.
Right? The courage from within to actually ask that question to yourself, to each other, and answer it from really, really within of really, really how you feel and what that means. I can't express that enough on my end, how it's affected me tremendously through my experiences of really getting deep down and dirty with that question and be real. Go ahead, Bright Guy.
And I'm so sorry. I just thought one thing I forgot to say. Anthony, Forrest, for you guys specifically, do this exercise independent of each other first. Then do it together. That's powerful, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sandy, I miss your face so much. I'm so happy you're here.
I would say the same thing to Emma, because Emma, I think you mentioned your mother is a partner with you in your business, right? Your fitness business. Both of you should do the question as well, you and your mother.
Okay.
And then y'all can touch after.
Yeah, big touches. Touch.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
I think it's a wrap.
If that's
Thank
it,
you so much. It's been amazing.
call one done in the books.
That went too fast.
Boom.